And I think Marvel's done some ridiculous things too that they kind of scrapped. There's a lot of things that they scrapped from Marvel. A lot of things that didn't work. Okay. Like Malekith didn't work. I think they kind of scrapped that whole thing.
He was a one-time villain.
Yeah, but but that whole movie, first of all, didn't work. So I think Ragnarok was
clearly
the answer.
Clearly, because they put a lot of Thor: The Dark World in this last movie.
Okay, but
so there was some parts of that movie that didn't work.
So you guys can tell us in the comment section if you think Thor 2 was any good movie to even mention. But from my knowledge, they consider Thor 2 to be the worst out of all the MCU movies. Now, is that saying much? Not so much, because all the movies are great. But for Thor: The Dark World, a lot of things didn't work, so they scrapped it and they came up with Ragnarok. That's why the Thor we see today is not the Thor from Thor 2.
I don't think they scrapped it to get Ragnarok. I think Ragnarok was just the next movie in its succession.
Not really, because if the first two was received well, I like the first.
They talked about Ragnarok. They hinted to Ragnarok in Age of Ultron.
No, I'm not talking about the movie itself. I'm talking about the tone. The tone of Ragnarok was far different from the tone of Iron Man 2.
Well, yeah,
because they realized
they often change tones. Look at Winter Soldier compared to the first Captain America. Different tone.
Yeah, because Captain America didn't work. The original one didn't really work, so they changed the tone.
The original one was a classic.
But look at all the Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. They're all tonally the same. Because Iron Man the first one worked. The second one
the first Iron Man was really different from the other two Iron Mans. Very different. You had your comic stuff, but you had your comedy from Robert Downey, but a lot of it was dealing with the stuff that's going on in the Middle East and all that stuff. Yeah, and that's where their focus was. Yeah, that type of the dark market and all that stuff. I think you're talking about two different things. I'm talking about tonally, like the movie. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. To me, is a little consistent. It's consistent tone in a tone base. Thor 1, 2, and 3 are not all tonally the same. I think the first 1 and 2 are the same relatively tonally, but with the third one, Ragnarok is radically different from the first 1 and 2.
You also have to remember there's 3 different directors.
That's all besides the point. You can't.
It's not besides.
You use outside influences to make.
But your director is here to do what? Create something, right? And your directors if you have 3 different directors, they're gonna have 3 different takes. Taika Waititi, he is a comedy director, so of course he's gonna take a comedic approach to Thor Ragnarok. The second director who did Dark World, he was more about the mythology and all about Shakespearean and all that stuff. That's where his focus was.
But again, that has nothing to do with the movie in and of itself. Because
it has everything to do with
it doesn't. Because if Marvel said to Taika Waititi, we don't like this comedic approach, we want something more serious and more grounded, and if he's like, all right, you know what, that's why a lot of directors leave because of disagreement or whatever the case may be. So I think back in the studio or whatever, they must have said, okay, Thor 1 and Thor 2 wasn't received as well as we'd have liked it for it to be received. Let's do a different approach.
You can't say that. You definitely can't say that, because if you was to say that, that means 1, you were sitting in there. You can't say that. And number 2, they make their decisions based off of what? They make decisions. Most movie studios make their decisions off of 2 things.
1 is money.
The main one is money. Yeah. And then your reaction or whatever.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's money.
Yeah.
Thor 2 made money.
Okay.
Made money. So either way, you were going to get a third movie.
Okay,
but here's the thing. Yes, it does. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. Number 1, you have your money, so you're gonna get your third. You're gonna get your third Thor movie anyway. Your reaction, your crowd reaction. Now you don't like the movie. Clear. You don't like the movie. Yeah. I do. I could represent 2 million people. You could represent 2 million people. But where they go with the character and where they go trajectory. That's where they have to make their choices and decisions. They could have chose to do another movie very similar to Thor 2, but they chose to go a different direction altogether.
But why did they choose to go a different direction?
That's like asking why they choose to go a different direction for Iron Man 3. They chose a different director to do it. When Jon Favreau was doing the 2 of them, why couldn't Jon Favreau do 1, 2, and 3? They chose to go a different direction altogether with the character, and they decided to do something totally different. And what did they get? They got a movie that was very divisive.
Yeah.
Now, Thor 2 was very similar. The tone of it was very similar to something like Man of Steel, maybe. It didn't have a lot of jokes. It was very serious. Yeah. It was very dark. Mm-hmm. So not a lot of people liked it. Okay. So they decided to change directions.
And that's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
But you're making it seem like it's because of their failures. That's why they decided to.
I never said
they decided to change it to make it fresh.
No, I never said that.
You just said that you were in the room and they said.
No. I even just said that I don't consider Marvel to have any real flops or failures. To this day, I still tell you, I wonder what's Marvel's first flop.
You said that this was Marvel's first. You said that people said that this is the first flop that Marvel had.
No, I said this is the least of the movies. I didn't say flop.
You said flop.
See, once again, go back and play the tape.
No, it's not on this tape.
I'm sorry. Maybe I gotta see it again. Did you see the action scenes in it? Yeah, it's popcorn. I don't care. I liked it.
Airplane thing. Popcorn. It was a popcorn movie.
So
everybody was
one good scene from this movie.
I just told you a bunch.
What is his name? Mano. Yeah, when it was like lost in space and they was trying to follow him, whatever, because they was going to different dimensions or different holes, whatever. That was pretty cool. That was like the last fight scene, I think.
That was the last fight scene.
Yeah, but I don't remember nothing.
Thor was getting his brakes beaten. That was good because you never seen that before. So that had to tell you how strong that dude was in order for him to beat up Thor. Thor? The curse.
Exactly.
The dude who cracked the thing, he put it in him, and then he all transformed and everything like that, wilding out. Oh, and even the part with Loki. My goodness, you can even talk about Loki alone in the movie. Because the way he was like, yo, when he found out that Frigga died, and he just was like that,
he flipped out.
Yo, that right there was a lie.
That was more Loki's movie than Thor.
Oh, okay.
And then he had that
you like that? You like the Loki movie?
You talk about Pepper Potts, but he had that dumb love interest that we never gonna see again in any Marvel movie. Exactly. For Thor.
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster.
Okay, well everybody got love. Everybody got love.
But that was poor.
But she needed to go. She needed to go. I'm not even going to deny that. I didn't like her. Potts is the worst, bro.
First lady of Marvel.
Worst.
Is this recorded?
Yeah. Let me put this Iron Man arm on and defeat the enemy, even though it's an Iron Man movie. Let Pepper Potts defeat the enemy.
Why does Iron Man have to be the enemy all the time?
It's Iron Man.
It's Iron Man's movie.
So
Iron Man's movie.
So in
defeat your enemy, the Mandarin, who's not really the Mandarin. This movie is so convoluted. So convoluted.
I think you're missing a lot of beats, man. You're missing a lot of beats.
Yeah, man. You clearly you are too, man.
How many times have you seen Iron Man 3?
I've seen it twice. I decided to give it a second chance to try it again. And every time I saw it again, every time I see the same. The only thing y'all keep telling me is the end credit, the end fight. You're telling me about that and him being crazy. That's the only two things you're telling me about this movie.
I can say the only thing I like about Iron Man.
What other development did you get since Iron Man is not the center of the movie? What development did you get from
the center of the movie?
What about his? You didn't say. Didn't you just say? Oh, why does Iron Man have to? Oh, you didn't.
That don't mean he's not the center of the movie.
So what was it? So what about the girl? What about the girl?
Nitpicking, man.
You was just nitpicking.
I'm not nitpicking. And to me,
financially it didn't flop, and for the Rotten Tomatoes scores it didn't flop because it didn't have a low score with Rotten Tomatoes.
And I agree with you. But critically, it's the least of the movie. I didn't say it flopped because, like I said, to this day, I keep saying to you, to this day, I keep saying to you, I wonder what I thought Captain Marvel would be its first flop because of all the things that was happening behind the scenes. I thought that was going to be its first flop. For the record, I'm saying this now, that Marvel doesn't have a flop, both financially or critically. However, they do have movies that are least and movies that are greater. And I think that what I've seen so far is that Thor 2 is considered to be the least of all of the Marvel movies. And I said it before in this tape that, and I'm not saying much because if Thor's the least, then Thor's a C-, and that's still a passing grade. You know what I mean? So with that being said, if with them having that low grade, basically, they decided to take a new approach, a new direction with Thor Ragnarok, which to them was successful, right? Okay, so if they can kind of see that, okay, we have these errors here, we need to change this or scrap that, then why is it a problem? To me, why is it a problem if, now, let me just say this, because I don't think all of DC movies are even worth mentioning. You know, I hated Suicide Squad. BVS, I was divisive on it, but I was more on the side of I didn't like it than I did like it. After the whole nostalgia, the whole hype about Superman and Batman sharing the screen together, when that phase was over, I realized I didn't like the movie.
Suicide Squad is getting another movie.
And Suicide Squad is getting another movie. So I'm saying like, and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, although people might say is the greatest of the movies, okay, yeah, but I still didn't like. Wonder Woman was great up until the third act. Aquaman was kind of all over the place, even though I did like it. Shazam to me was the first movie that was consistent in what they were going for and what it was marketed as. So I'm like, at least give it credit for that. You know what I mean? Did I say it was a great movie? No. Like I mean, it came out and like, yo, that was the hottest movie ever.
2019, we're giving people credit for being what you marketed.
Yeah. I think what you meant to say is that what you said before when we
I know exactly what I said.
No, what you said before when we did our other review, Endgame review, you said that we're not accepting mediocrity. I think that's what you more so mean. In 2019, we shouldn't accept mediocrity for these less than stellar movies, and that's why I think sometimes we the fans could be to blame for it, because people are like, oh, Suicide Squad is the greatest, BDS was the greatest, when they were just the worst movies ever. You know what I mean? Those kind of movies if you start boycotting those kind of movies and say we're not accepting this garbage, then they will start to make better movies.
That's why you got Justice League. Justice League came out and they boycotted Justice League.
Justice
League flopped.
And finally they did something. Finally they did something right. You know what I mean? Because now after Justice League we had two decent movies, relatively decent movies. We had Aquaman and Shazam.
And two movies that chose to stay away from the cancer that was Zack Snyder.
Exactly. So it's like you like an apple. You eat the apple, whatever, but you spit out the seeds and whatnot. It's like finally maybe DC's now deciding we're gonna spit out all the bad stuff. Yes, the caterpillar might be it might have been just a throwaway thing from a comic book. We've had Marvel has done that time and time again when they had something there that's just kind of a throwaway. They might come back to it or they might not.
If you're referring to anything that happened in Phase 1 of Marvel, I don't think that's fair. The reason why I say I don't think that's fair is because Phase 1, they had no idea that they'll be here in phase at the end of Phase 3. They had a roadmap.
They had a blueprint.
They had a blueprint, but they switched things around. They had to change.
They got out what didn't work.
So back in those, we thought we was going to get another Hulk. They thought they were going to have another Hulk.